So we decided to make another video.
Yeah, we discussed it and are on the same page. Here it is.
And we're going to continue with communication. What we are going to talk about is what happens if I, as an INFJ, choose to shut down all the time rather than getting out of my comfort zone, and when we are in a deep conversation. Let's say if there is a hard week for me and I'm really busy, I have to sometimes choose to be willing to listen to what she is communicating to me.
Yeah. And part of the reason why I need to communicate is I have a lot of introverted thinking going on, and with all of the different things I'm thinking in my mind, I need to, the extroverted feeling part of me needs to communicate that to kind of solidify my ideas about it. It almost, I think, comes out in a slight, it might seem kind of like an extroverted thinking.
Yes.
But I am an introverted thinker. It's just that I do need to be able to talk about it in almost an extroverted thinking way, which is kind of my feeling and my extroverted intuition. And I think it's really a main drive for my extroverted intuition, needing to have all these creative ideas and showing them and expressing them to him and having his input. Mm-hmm. And without input, I can't, I have no filter on all of these ideas that I have, and I really need that help to be able to filter. And if I don't have that, I can kind of get, my mind gets blocked because I have so many thoughts running through my head.
Right. It's almost like you fill a pitcher of water up, and at a certain point that water reaches the top, and then it just starts to overflow. And it's like, whoa, I need to get all of this out of me so that I can get back to where I'm holding the water in me securely again. And it's really good, because for me, that I have to find that balance to go, okay, I'm going to choose to listen to you. I might have had a hard day today, but I'm going to listen because I know it is important for me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how does it feel when you have to? What does that process feel like?
Sometimes for me, I have to actually gear myself up to get into conversation before I get home. So I will literally, from the time I leave work, begin the process of categorizing my thoughts, of calming my emotions down, of getting my introverted time in so that I am more prepared when I get home to have whatever conversations come my way. And that has been a real plus on our side for communication.
Yeah. And for me, it's really hard. Like if I'm not able to talk with him about everything that I need to talk about, I can kind of shut down and become in almost a more depressed state, or just kind of mopey. I can't hold it in very well.
Yeah.
Or I just call my mom, because again, she's an ENFP and we can talk about it. But sometimes it's just you're able to get on that same page with me at those deeper levels that I need. Like I need your input more than anybody else's on some of these things.
Right.
So it's like my mom or a friend doesn't really fulfill these things that I need to say.
Yeah. Because it's a unique balance between the two of us. For good communication to work well, we have to watch each other's emotions and feelings and where we're at, so that there's a good balance there. One example of that we have found works good is I will often ask her, "How is your heart?" Mm-hmm. Now, that's an interesting question to ask, but what that enables her to do is to be able to go to think about how she's feeling, what she's thinking, what her emotional state is, and be able to process that. And it is a safe time, because sometimes for an INFJ, it's better to actually initiate those times when we go into the deeper conversations, go into the deeper things of communication. And so I say, how's your heart? And then I make sure that my ears are turned on and that I'm truly listening. And I know that's just a communication technique in general, but for us personally, that works really well, because then we can talk about it and I can express how I am feeling as well.
And normally, because you kind of have that just innate sense of where people are at, he can normally read my thoughts kind of anyway.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, have a really hard time even knowing I have an emotion. All of a sudden, I'll just like start crying or get depressed. I feel an emotion really strongly, but I don't even know why I had that emotion.
Yeah.
And him saying, how's your heart, enables me to go and realize where it's at.
And she processes.
Yeah.
She'll process and find out what's really going on the inside, but sometimes it takes those additional words to get there.
Yeah.
So that she can see what that true core issue is that she's looking at.
And oftentimes I'll be like, do you think that this, like, I'll kind of come out and I'll be like, do you think that this is really the issue that I'm having? And he'll go, he might say yes, or he might put some little input, and then I'll go, oh, yes, that's why I have that problem.
Yeah.
This is why I'm just started crying out of nowhere. And, like, it might have been about work or what someone said. One time one of my coworkers was just really insensitive, and it didn't really mean anything. I know it was just, he was just upset. It didn't really matter. I don't really think about it much, but at the same time, that still hurt me, what he said, and I kind of had to get that out there.
Yeah.
And, and otherwise I wouldn't have even known why I was feeling all that stuff.
Well, and it sort of flip-flops again.
Yeah, and then I can go, how's his heart?
Yeah. But if she starts pressing me for information, I'm going to shut down, because I'm like, whoa, I need to think. I need to figure out where I am, and it might take a little bit of time. But then I'm going to give you a very genuine, a very real, a very authentic answer that goes deep. It's probably deeper than the words that are actually coming out of my mouth. So that's the other part, is sometimes she will have to ask questions to figure out what it is I'm really truly saying in that statement.
And I kind of have to do that a lot, especially like if we're communicating with other people. If I sense something that there's a lot behind what you're trying to say. Like when he was saying, the wind blowing through the trees, I'll go, what kind of trees? And, I'll just keep asking questions, and I go, okay, this is your point.
Yeah.
I especially do that when we're talking with people, and I start to see, I can't really read their faces, but there's sometimes when I can tell that they're not getting what you're trying to say, and he so wants everybody to understand where he's coming from. Exactly. And I pull those things out, and I just keep on asking questions, and we're just very in tune with each other to make sure that I'm pulling the depth of what he's trying to communicate, and making sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
And we always try to be on the same page. We always make sure that we stop, we communicate, and we never let an issue go unresolved. We will stay up. We don't have many issues, but when we have had issues, we've stayed up till 4 a.m. We've stopped the car on the middle of a trip and just communicated and waited until we were completely on the same page. We were completely okay.
Yeah.
And we don't let anything just linger, or because it really will just extremely just be festering. It will just fester and fester and fester very quickly with the two of us. And I don't know if that's similar with other personality types, but it will fester, and it just will just bug us. We won't be able to sleep. We won't be able to get anything else done until we make sure that we're on the same page and that both of our hearts are okay.
Yeah.
And saying, how's your heart, is a really quick way to get on the same page with each other, especially on an emotional level. Again, we're kind of running close on time, but
yeah.
Cool. So we just encourage other couples like us to always make sure that your communication is good. And if you guys have any tips or anything to say, leave a comment below. We'll probably be seeing more videos from us.
Yeah, or if you have any other stories or something similar that you would like to talk with us about, we would love to experience that.
Yeah.